Thanks, Robert. Our sustainable podium is missing a place for a pint glass. I think one lesson we can take away is you should always find places for pint glasses wherever you are in your life. So this conference is a milestone for me. 9 years ago today was my first unofficial day as Dean of the School of Business and Economics at Sonoma State. And I remember that day vividly. I was, as you might imagine, a new leader in the largest university system in the world, which sometimes can be slightly bureaucratic. So there I am at my desk, signing papers, reading reports, and Dr. Gurling comes in and says, "You got to get the hell out of here. You're not going to learn anything in this room." And he brought me over to this conference. He said to me, "This is the place where things are happening in Sonoma County." And he was right. I learned two things that day. First, I made the best decision of my life by moving myself, but more importantly, my family to this community. It's been a wonderful place to raise my children. It's been a wonderful place to work and a credible place to live. The second thing I learned was the most accomplished, committed, dedicated, successful people in this community show up at this conference year after year, and it's a pleasure to be a part of it, and it's a pleasure for the university to sponsor the conference. Today I've been asked to talk a little bit about the future of leadership in sustainability. One of the opportunities of working at the university, it's like I live every day looking through a crystal ball, because I can see the future in the hearts and the minds and the souls of the students that work with us. And let me share with you what I see now as it relates to sustainability. First, I have to give you a little bit of context about the university and how we approach sustainability. Sonoma State University does not have a major in sustainability, does not have a department of sustainability. For us, sustainability is a value, and I think it's more powerful that way. Organizations sometimes make a mistake by assigning someone the role of Chief Sustainability Officer, and then everyone says, "Okay, you go do sustainability, and we can go do the things we've been doing all along." But if it's a value, sustainability is a value, then it becomes something that everyone owns. Also, sustainability at the university is people. It's about who's there and what they are doing in sustainability, and we don't organize the people in the way you might think. For example, our director of sustainability, Paul Draper, is a theater professor. He's not a biologist, he's not an environmental scientist, he's a theater professor. One of the people on campus who does the most in sustainability, a guy by the name of John Staten, who was involved in the early days of this conference and is here at this moment. He ran a green business incubator before coming to be the director of our executive MBA program. Right, the executive MBA program, that's probably the most capitalistic, focused on profit, greed, all those horrible things program in a university, and yet we have sustainability happening in the leadership of that program. Claudia Luke, who runs our preserves, which can be focused sometimes on a limited part of the student population, creates a Center for Environmental Inquiry, invites interdisciplinary participation. And so it's not just enough to get our biology and environmental science students out into the preserves. We get the whole campus out there. We just hired in the business school Adele Santana, who has expertise in both sustainability and entrepreneurship, right? Inspiring our future generation, come up with business ideas that are going to help our planet, our environment. And you all know Dr. Gurling, who for years has been a champion of sustainability at the university. So that's the context, value and people. Now here's what I see, and I think it's good to start this conference off maybe with a little bit of controversy. I see the end of sustainability. It's the wrong term, it's the wrong focus. Okay, we can all go home now, we're done, right? So, and there's been some dialogue about this, right? We should switch from sustainability to regeneration. That's, I think, in the right direction. I mean, it's more than just a semantic game, right? Sustainability is about creating endurance, maintenance. It has this ethos of survival sometimes. I think the right focus, and what I see in the future, is vitality. right? Creating vital enterprises, not just sustainable enterprises, vital enterprises, generative and regenerative, repurposing but purposeful. I think that's the future of sustainability. Similarly, we focus a lot on the triple bottom line. Wrong, wrong, wrong. Triple bottom line is a metric. And what happens when we focus on metrics is we lose sight of the greater outcome. It's not that it's not important to measure the triple bottom line, but we tend to sometimes think about balance. How do we balance economics with environment and social equity? The problem with balance is when you take away from one and give to the other, you can't create more, right? Environment takes away from economics or profit, or social equity takes away from environment. Instead, we want to focus on alignment. And the metric or the outcome we should be looking for is madness. Madness. Now, I don't mean madness in the way that you might normally think about it. I'm talking about an acronym here. Madness is an acronym for making a difference. Bigger than triple bottom line. Making a difference in the organizations for which you work, in the communities for which you live. That is what leadership is about, and that's what I see in the eyes, in the hearts, in the souls of our student. Let me share a story with you about something that happened recently that I think illustrates where sustainability is going. And it's not about a sustainability story per se. It's not even a sustainability focus. About a month ago, in this very room, we had the first ever North Bay Make-a-thon, right? A couple people were there, right? So making it through my lens is kind of like entrepreneurship 2.0. But in the school curriculum, making is wood shop meets art studio meets computer science lab. And it's about opening up creativity and innovation in our students. And a make-a-thon, like its sort of sister idea, a hackathon, is bringing a bunch of people together for 24 hours, depriving them of sleep. For those of you that participated in cult activities in the 60s and 70s, this may sound familiar, right? And encourage them to make something. And this wasn't just students. It wasn't just college students. It was high school students, even primary school students, and members from the community, either participating on the team or participating as mentors and sponsors. And here's some of the ideas that they came up with. A couple that didn't even win the prize, but I thought were outstanding. A group of students was working on an EpiPen. So for those of you that have severe allergies, the EpiPen is about the size of that pint glass that you have to carry around with you. And so people don't do it. And they came up with a technology to make it about the size of someone's finger, much more comfortable to carry around. Another group was working on creating a device to take the output of 3D printing, all those sort of plastic and other material things that are scrap in the end, and how do you recycle those and turn into new raw product for the next cycle of 3D printing. So we don't make the same mistake with 3D printing that we've done with printer cartridges. Right? Interesting ideas. Here are the three winners. The first one was called Heads Up, and it was a group of students that created a device that sits on your rear view mirror, and it flashes lights when an emergency services vehicle is in the area creating noise. And it's for people that are hearing impaired or for people that are distracted. Right? Great idea. Second place winner was something called Shadow Theater. And this was a team of a student in 6th grade, a middle school teacher, and a staff member in our school of education. Remember shadow puppets? You shine a light and you cut something out and you can make little plays and creative enterprises. Well, they created a kit that helps school do that. So using recycled materials, you can create your own shadow theater. Now just think about this for a minute, what this does for education. It involves taking any materials that are scrap or left over and freeing students to come up with their own ideas. And if you scale it up at a higher level, you can add in electronics and lighting and sound and all sorts of things. Real simple idea, but it creates innovation in the minds of students. It's not running them through a prescripted lesson plan, but lets them be part of it. That's going to give us the type of thought leaders we need to be involved in our vital enterprise future. And the winning organization, I don't even remember what they were called. We referred to them on the judges' table. They were the coffee cup team. So a week before the enterprise, before the conference, they didn't know what they were going to do. And they're sitting there at Starbucks, and if you sat at Starbucks, you see all sorts of things, but one of the things you see oftentimes is a garbage can overflowing with wasted paper products. And they're sitting there trying to come up with an idea, what are we going to do? And they're looking at that and saying, well, we should solve that problem. And their idea was to create a coffee cup that has an IR code. So we know that you can bring your own cup in and reuse it, and that will solve the problem. People don't do it. So the IR code on the cup sends the signal to the cashier about what it is you want, and it's waiting for you. And so the incentive is, well, you get a little discount, and you don't have to wait in line. You can go up and just get it. Incentive for people to use the cup. Great idea. Maybe triple bottom line, but it's an idea that'll make a difference. And so next year, when we do the Make-a-thon, there's not a person in this room that can't help us make a difference by being involved. We had 30 teams this year. We'd like to see 10 times that next year. You can form your own team. You can be a sponsor, or you can be a mentor to teams. But you can make a difference. You are making a difference. And to that note, I want to share one more story before I go. It's a personal one. 2 years ago at this conference, I wasn't a keynote, but I got to introduce the keynote speaker, and it was my son, Benji. And at a time we were focusing on social equity, my son, Benji, is a cancer survivor. And at that time, he was the chair of the Light the Night Walk for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. And he was getting up and telling his story and encouraging people to participate. Last year and this year, people say, well, how's Benji doing? And so I just wanted to give you a quick update on how Benji is doing. He's doing wonderful. He's a high school student at a place called... Robert said I have 3 teenagers, 2 more on the way. We'll get them up here to speak soon, too. So he's a high school student at a place called Northwest Prep. It's a charter school in the Pioneer Olivet School District. No classes, just project-based learning. A very interesting learning model. His first project to get the students into project-based learning, they had to do something. How do you teach the world something in 5 minutes or less? And so for the first 6 months, our first 6 weeks of school this year, he was figuring out, how do I teach the world how to make salsa? That's what he was learning in school. How do you make salsa? But it's a wonderful project if you think about it, because each day they feed him information. So they learn about Mayan and Aztec culture and history, and a little chemistry, the capsicum that's in it, and organic farming. And I asked Benji, well, what is it that you're learning? And he said, Dad, I'm learning how to make movies. It's awesome. And they learn project management and communication and collaboration, and it's a great model. So he's doing very well, and I just do want to share one more note on making a difference. That year, we raised over $250,000 for leukemia research. The following year, the same again. So over $500,000 from this community to support an important cause. Thank you so much for supporting us. Thank you for making a difference. Enjoy the conference day. It's wonderful to be here with you. Thanks, Larry.